go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave.
Stacey Abrams laid out 10 Steps to Autocracy on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. It was a prediction and a report, a roadmap of how democracies die, and not just anywhere, right here in America. Trump is already halfway through the playbook. But while everyone else is frozen, debating whether to call it fascism or not, I'm here to talk about how we fight back, not with hope, but with structure, not with politics, but with unity and ownership. This isn't about saving America. This is about saving us.
You went viral for laying out 10 steps to autocracy. Run us through those steps so we all know.
Okay, so this happens in every nation that has become an autocracy, having been a democracy. So whether we're talking about Brazil with Bolsonaro, or India, or Putin and Russia, the Philippines with Duterte. So start with winning an election. Usually the last one you're going to get to have for real. Number two, you have an expansion of executive power. The president decides he wants more than he's supposed to have.
Let's stop right there. He already won once in 2016 with foreign help, voter suppression, and lies. He lost in 2020, then tried to burn the system down rather than concede. That's not losing. That's planning your next move. And here's the dangerous part. It's not just Trump anymore. The entire Republican Party and the Supreme Court are complicit. The GOP covers for him. The court just gave him immunity. So at this point, it's not a warning, it's an operation.
Number three, you start to make the Congress complicit. So you weaken them and you neutralize or neuter the judiciary.
The court has delivered a monumental victory.
Most of that action took place on what lawyers call the court's emergency docket. When presidential administrations file these applications, they are almost always because some lower court judge has blocked one of their major initiatives. And on more than a dozen occasions, the administration raced to the court on issues like immigration, birthright citizenship, transgender rights, the independence of executive agencies. And in that emergency setting, the court generally gave them what they wanted.
Let's stop right here. I need to speak on this. One of the most alarming shifts in American democracy is happening in silence and with the Supreme Court's stamp of approval. It's called the Shadow Docket, and it's become one of the clearest indicators that the court is actively collaborating with Trump to bypass legal accountability and expand unchecked executive power. The Trump team understood that the Supreme Court, stacked with loyalists, would act as an escape hatch, nullifying judicial scrutiny with one-line, unexplained orders. Stacey Abrams warned that autocracy thrives when executive power expands unchecked, and that's exactly what we're seeing. The Trump administration issues unlawful orders, lower courts push back, the Supreme Court steps in quietly to override them. This pattern reveals a dangerous alliance. The Supreme Court is not a neutral body. It is now functioning as a partner in the executive branch authoritarian shift. By refusing to explain its actions, the court destroys transparency, undermines its legitimacy, and concentrates power in the hands of a single man, Trump.
The volume is way out of proportion to earlier administrations. In just the first few months of the second Trump administration, they filed 19 emergency applications. That's the same as over 4 years of the Biden administration. And then if you go back a little bit longer, the comparison is astounding. Over 16 years, 8 of Barack Obama, 8 of George W. Bush, there were only collectively 8 emergency applications.
Like, oh, I don't know, the Supreme Court giving you unfettered power and saying we don't have the ability to stop things. Then you move on to firing all of the people who know how to make government work. So you gut the civil service.
The Trump administration's large-scale staffing cuts and agency restructuring can now resume. The Supreme Court lifted a federal judge's order pausing Trump's plan to downsize the federal government.
This right here is where the whole system gets gutted. Trump wants to fire 50,000 plus federal workers and replace them with loyalists. And do you know where that idea came from? Hungary. Trump met with Viktor Orban 3 times in 2024. That's not random. Orban already pulled this off in Hungary. He took the courts, took the media, dismantled democracy from the inside. So, what do you think those 3 meetings were about? This is the authoritarian handoff. Trump didn't just make this up. He studied it. He's importing fascism step by step.
And you do that because you want to break democracy so people forget the stuff that used to get done, so you can't get your Social Security check, so the CDC doesn't know what diseases are anymore. Then you put in place these loyalists, people who are only responsive to you. You put them in charge of the FBI so they go after your enemies. You put them in charge of the Department of Justice, the Department of Defense, so they can signal to their friends and tell them all about the evil plans that you have.
This step, you're not just breaking government, you're replacing it with a dictatorship. Trump has already said he'll put his people in charge of the DOJ, FBI, and the military. He wants the law to serve him, not the people. Now add the Orban connection, add the Republican obedience, add the Supreme Court's blessings, and you realize this isn't politics. This is takeover.
Then you make certain that you break how we communicate. So you criticize the media and you create your own echo chamber of propaganda. You call it truth even though you know you're lying. Then you go to the next step, and I call that step 7. Because at step 7, you have to blame someone. You have to blame people for the broken government, for the broken promises. So you go after DEI. You go after the vulnerable, the dispossessed. You go after any community that doesn't look like what you think power should be. While you're doing that, you make certain that you, in step 8, you eliminate anybody who could help them. So
executive orders or something. And of all of those, I think what he has done to these big law firms is close to the top of the most illegal. The most illegal. It clearly is against the First Amendment, and it's extortion. It is literally extortion that they're doing against these. And in fact, when it goes through the court system, the courts have upheld the law firms. But these 10 law firms, I think that I'm counting so far, have bent the knee. I think this is a catastrophe for the legal profession. It shows that they are really after money and only money. And
so you sue law firms that do pro bono cases. You go after philanthropies and accuse them of giving money to the wrong people. You go after colleges and universities that can teach people possibly what else they should know.
The White House threatening to put stop work orders on more than $50 million in contracts with Columbia University as it investigates anti-Semitism there. Billions of dollars in grants could also be at stake. As Lisa Rosner reports, the president also posted on social media today that all federal funding will stop for any campus that allows what he calls illegal protests.
You get to step 9 and you start to encourage and incentivize private violence. You send the U.S. Marines into spaces they should not be. You send the National Guard in. You kidnap people off of the streets and pretend that's normal, because that's how you quiet dissent, because you make everyone afraid that if they don't do what you want, they might be next.
This morning, new questions after federal agents descended onto MacArthur Park in Los Angeles yesterday. 90 National Guard troops in tactical gear deploying to the mostly empty park. Officials only saying the troops were there to support immigration authorities.
What a disgrace, what's happening in MacArthur Park. What theater.
California Governor Gavin Newsom slamming the Trump administration.
Those National Guard men and women that were out there protecting people are now being used as political pawns.
Who were in the park today were children. It was their summer camp.
Mayor Karen Bass saying there were no threats at the park, only children whose camp was interrupted.
Because the United States of America has finally become that place where you might have to show your papers if masked men carrying weapons of war jump out of unmarked vans and try to drag you into one of those vans. They can do that to anyone.
And once you've done those 9 steps, steps 10 is easy. That's when you decide there won't be new elections because everyone's either afraid, poor, broken, or complicit.
Well, this isn't just a plan anymore, it's happening. The Supreme Court has cleared the way for Trump to overhaul the federal workforce. And where is he starting? The State Department. Over 1,350 employees, including 1,100 civil servants and 246 foreign service officers, have received layoff notices today. This is more than downsizing. It's about dismantling the core of American diplomacy. And it's not just about the State Department. Other agencies are next. This is step 4 in action, and it's happening right now. The coup wasn't just January 6th. It's ongoing. The Republicans have normalized it. The Supreme Court has legalized it. And Orban has coached it. If the GOP and SCOTUS are complicit, the stop it from happening window has closed. You're now in the resist and rebuild from within phase. By step 5, the whole system's rigged from the inside. And here's the truth. He didn't figure that out alone. He had help. Trump met with Viktor Orban 3 times in 2024. That's not friendship, that's mentorship. Orban has already done this in Hungary. The Republican Party is on board. The Supreme Court just gave him legal cover. So why wouldn't Trump believe he can finish the job here? We are no longer theorizing. We are witnessing the blueprint unfold in real time, from purging civil servants to dismantling judicial neutrality, from controlling the media narrative to rigging the game before it's even played. Every step towards autocracy is being walked with precision, and too many of us are sleepwalking through it. But let this be clear. Black survival requires more than awareness. It demands strategy. We cannot afford to be spectators in a system designed to erase us. We must organize, unify, and build the infrastructure to protect our freedom, our families, and our future under Black management by any means necessary. Because once step 10 hits, once violence becomes normalized, legalized, and weaponized against us, the window to fight back closes fast. So, stay alert, stay building, and most of all, stay Black on purpose.